this is what you see in front of you here is what we're going to be building today. So what I've done is just set up a very functional, very nice looking plant store. So we're going to be selling some plants and some pots for the plants today. So this is just my homepage. So very simple, very easy to use. We have our logo, we have our navigation, we have some really nice visuals. We're featuring some products here from different categories. So we're having some plants featured. We have some pots featured as well. And then you'll see we've done some kind of nice things like add some video content to the homepage as well, allowing customers to subscribe to our newsletter. And then we have a very basic kind of footer navigation here with some social media links and some contact information. So this is what we're going to be building today. If we also go into some pages, you're going to see we've built an About Us page, which is pretty basic here. We have a Contact Us page, so people can send us a message if they need to. And then we have things like a few different collections that we can access. So we have our indoor plants collection. We have our plant pots collection as well. And then you're going to see the last link that I've put up here is just an order status link. So for customers to be able to log in and actually see their order, if there's anything, that's changed with it, etc. So on that note, let's get started. What I have here is a brand new Shopify account. So we've never done a single thing to this account. It is brand spanking new. It is the same way that you would see it should you be signing up for a Shopify account. One thing that's important to mention about Shopify right now too is that we are offering a 90-day free trial for anybody during the COVID crisis. So if you kind of just want to play around with it and see how it works, you have a full 3 months to be able to do that right now. So I'm going to go through most of the back end step by step, but what we're going to focus on now is really just populating our store with the information that we need. So we're going to start with adding some products and organizing those products. And then we're going to go through adding some content. So the About Us page that we saw, the contact page that we saw as well. And then what we're going to do after that is laying that out within the template, within the theme, and making sure everything looks good like you just saw here on this homepage. And then we're going to go through the settings as well to make sure that your payment method is set up properly, your shipping methods, your taxes, and then we're going to run through some orders as we were a real customer on the store. We're going to show you how to manage those orders, manage those customer accounts, really everything that you need to know to be able to operate your store on a basic level. I'm just going to check the chat now just to make sure that everything is good. Cool. Wonderful. So let's get going. So as I said, the first thing we're going to do here is add some products. So we're going to go under the products tab. And here you're going to see, a few different options, things for inventory, things to generate gift cards, collections. We're only going to go through products and collections for today because those are the things that you really need to do to set up your store. And so the first thing that we're going to do here is add our first product. So I'm going to go through this kind of one field by one field. Everything's very logical, and I'll explain as I go also, but we've tried to keep things nice and simple so that it's not overcomplicated to add something simple like a product. So as I've said, we're going to be creating a plant store today. And my first product here that I'm going to be selling is the infamous Monstera deliciosa, which is just that plant that everybody seems to have these days, also known as the Swiss cheese plant. So that's my title here. You can put whatever you want in that title. And then under that, we have the description. So I have my description ready already, so you don't have to see me type all of this out. What's important to know here is that you have these rich text editing tools here at the top. So you can do things like add a video, add a picture, change the font size, the color, the alignment. Honestly, everything you can do with a regular kind of Word editing software. If you are capable in writing HTML, you can also switch to the HTML view here, and you can write the description in HTML as well if that's your thing. Otherwise, you don't have to. We can just write it here and spice it up with the tools up here. So scrolling down here, we have the media section. So these are just the photos that you're going to be adding to your product. So you can do that directly from a URL if you're hosting those images somewhere, or we can just go into our computer here and we can just add our product pictures. So just hang tight, gotta find my pictures. You can add multiple at once. And the really nice thing about adding photos here, if you're kind of techie like me, is that you're actually not going to be needing to host these anywhere. Shopify is automatically going to add these photos on our CDN, so our content delivery network, which we have locations across the world, so that regardless of where your customer is shopping from, these are going to load nice and quickly. And on that note, just kind of as a side note here, Shopify is a fully hosted platform. So you don't have to worry about hosting any of your information, of your data. Everything you put on Shopify, we take care of the hosting and we take care of the uptime for it as well. So you don't have to deal with any of that when creating a website, which is a huge headache for a lot of people. Great, so now I have my photos. You'll see you'll be able to kind of drag them around. So we have our feature picture here, which is the main photo, and then you can have other photos. If you want to change their order, you can just drag them around like this. Great, so now we have our pricing. Pretty self-explanatory. You have the price here, which is the main price, okay? And then you have the compare at price. The compare at price is the original price of the product if this was on sale. So let's say the original price of the product for this plant was 25 euros, and I wanted to sell it on sale for, let's say, 15 euros. Okay, so what this would do on the website as a result, which I'll show you a bit later, is that it's going to say, hey, this used to be 25 euros, but now it's on sale for 15. Down here, we have the cost per item box, and this is for you as a merchant to be able to track the margins on the product. So let's say this item actually cost me as a merchant 10 euros to purchase. I'm just going to put that here. And then later on in the analytics, which you can see here on the left-hand side, we'll be able to actually tell you based on your sales and based on the information that you've given us, how much margins you've actually made on the sale of this product. Great, so here we have a few other options. If you want to charge taxes on this product, leave this checked on. If you're in the EU or the client that you're building the store for is in the EU, you'll want to charge tax on the product. And then you're also able to show a unit price for this product if you wanted to do that. But I'm not going to actually go into that much further today. So here we have a few organizational inventory things that we can do. So we have our SKU, our stock keeping unit. You can put whatever you want here if you have that already available, or you can just make one up. I have one ready here. And then if you are planning on using Shopify to sell in a retail store as well, you can actually put the barcode number here. Lastly, if you want to keep track of the inventory that you have on hand for this product, leave this checked on, and you'll be actually able to tell us how much you have on hand. And so what happens with this is that every time that you sell one of this plant, we're going to be deducting from this quantity and keeping track of how much you actually have left after you've started selling this product. So you also see that you have the option here to continue selling when the product is out of stock. So what we're going to do is track how many you've oversold and let you know, hey, you're at 0 for inventory of this product, and here's how many additional of this product that you've sold. So I'm going to leave this as is for now and continue down to the shipping section. So with Shopify, you're able to sell digital products, so like a file or whatever that may be, or of course, physical products. So this plant in particular is a physical product, so I'm going to leave this checked on. And you're able to add a weight for this as well. This is not necessary, but you'll see a little bit later in the settings that we're able to create shipping rates based on product weight. And so what happens if you put these product weights is that at the checkout a bit later on, we'll be able to calculate the overall weight of the customer's cart and give them a shipping rate according to that weight that you've set up in the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and just put 2 kilograms for this plant here. And if you're more used to, different measures, you can change that here too. Going to skip through the customs information, but just know that it's possible to customize this also if you're planning on doing cross-border shipment. Okay, Going down to variants, this is actually really important. So variants is just different options for a product. So let's say you have different colors, you have different sizes, different add-ons, you can set those up here. So you can add multiple different options here. So that can be different sizes, colors, materials, as you can see here, and you can change this to be whatever you want, doesn't matter. But for this, I'm actually going to be changing to just one option, which is just going to be the color. And then on this field here on the right-hand side, I'm going to add my colors. So I have it in green, and as soon as you hit space, it's going to add it, or enter, sorry. And then I'm going to add tiger pink also as an option. So when you've added these options, you're going to see we scroll down and then we have the ability to change things like the price, the inventory quantity, the SKU, and things like the barcode and stuff like that for each variant. So of course, if you have different options, we're not expecting that they all follow the same inventory and all of that. So you're able to change that here. Great. For those of you that like kind of talking about SEO, there's also an SEO section here at the bottom. So the page title and the description are going to populate automatically based on what you've entered in at the top for the title and description, but you can change that as well. So you can just simply click on here, add more keywords, whatever it may be. So now we have really the content of the first product, and we're going to kind of go here on the top right hand side for a few other settings with the product. So the number one thing here is product availability. So with Shopify, we're really trying to allow you to sell on as many sales channels as possible, whether that be your online store, whether that be on Facebook, on your POS system, all of that good stuff. So here, based on the sales channels that you have activated, which you can do on the left-hand side here, you'll actually be able to say, hey, I want this product available on the online store and Facebook, but not on Instagram, for example. We're going to leave that as is because we're really focusing just on the online store for today, but then we're going to move on to organization. So one by one here, we have the product type. That can just be like a descriptor of the category of products that this is in. So for example, this product here is just a plant, plain and simple. So we're going to go ahead. Actually, I'm going to specify indoor plant just because we might want to add some outdoor plants a bit later on. And the vendor is just the brand of that product. So in this case here, we're not selling multiple brands. It's really just, you know, our own store, and we're called the Plant Company. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And then collections here is another word for category or groups of products. So you can add a product into a collection here. I'm actually going to skip over this for now, and I'm going to show you how to create collections after we're finished adding all of our products. Last but not least, we have our tagging section. So in French, I believe that's balise. And these are just keywords to describe your product, but you can do a lot of things with these tags. So one, you're able to sort your products on the front end. So your customers are able to filter by different tags to get to the product that they're looking for. But they're also used for you from a back-end perspective to add products into collections, to sort your products, to create logic around these products. And I'll show you how to do that very shortly here. But what we're going to do here is start off with a few tags. I want to categorize this one as a large plant, like such. And I also want to categorize this as an easy care type of plant, so that on the website, if customers are looking for, you know, plants that are easy to care for, they're able to filter by that tag and get to the right product. So I'm going to go ahead and add easy care, and that should be good for now. So I'm going to go ahead and just review everything. The information seems to be good, and I'm going to go ahead and save that product. So as that saves, I'm just going to go ahead and look at the chat here. It seems to be popping up. I'm going to go ahead and go through these questions towards the end of the webinar. If I haven't actually presented what you're looking for, I'll make sure to address all those questions towards the end here. So I have my first product here, and I'm going to just go ahead and preview that product on my website. So I'm going to click on preview. Now, you're going to see we don't have a theme or anything yet that we've customized, so it looks extremely plain, but you'll be able to see that the images work properly. We have our price and our sale price here, like I mentioned. We have our different color variants that we've added, and then we have things like our description here as well. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and add a second product just so we're kind of getting the hang of things. And then we're going to go ahead and get started on things like content and organization. So I'm going to add my second product here, which is going to be a plant pot this time around. So a different kind of product. And this one here is going to just be a woven pot that I'm offering. And again, not going to bore you with looking at me type the description. I'm just going to put some stuff in bold here just for fun. And I'm going to go ahead and add some pictures. In this case, I only have one, so I'm going to add one picture here. Great. The pricing for this item, I believe, is 15 euros, and it cost me 10 euros to buy as a merchant. It's not on sale, so I'm going to leave this empty. I'm going to charge taxes on this product. I have my SKU readily available here. Again, you don't need to add this if you don't have it. I do want to track my quantity, and I have 80 of these in store. This is a physical product, yes. It weighs 0.1 kilos. I do not have variants. I only have one color and one type, so I'm not going to check this on. SEO is looking good. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some tags and some stuff like that. So this is a different type of product. It's not an indoor plant. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, this is in the plant pots type category. The vendor is still myself, which is Plant Company. Again, I'm going to skip over collections for now. And for tagging, again, this is going to be a bit different than the tags we've added for the plant before. This is going to be a pot, but it's also going to be a pot that's made for large plants. So again, if somebody on the website is looking for pots that are going to fit their large plants that they're also buying, this is going to show in that same filter. Cool. So we have our second product added. I want to add quite a few more products, but again, I'm not going to make you guys watch me do that forever and ever. So what I'm actually going to do today is import a CSV of products. So if you want to automate the process of adding some products in bulk and you want to just enter in the information on a CSV file and just be able to quickly import that file, we're also giving you the option to do that here. So we have some resources on the help documentation just to get you a sample CSV file to be able to know exactly what information goes where. But for now, I have a CSV that's ready, and I'm just going to go ahead and upload that file. This should only take about 30 seconds, in which case I'm going to take a sip of water. Otherwise, we're going to move along, and I'm going to show you a few more things with the products. Great. Less than 30 seconds, and you can see we have all of our wonderful products here that we're going to be needing to run our store. Lovely. So the next thing that we're going to do is organize these products into collections. Okay, so you're going to see the default here is what's called the homepage collection. We're just going to ignore that for now, but we're going to go ahead and create two collections. So if you remember correctly, we added some plants and we've also added some pots as well. And I think that those should go in two different collections, both for the sake of the customer to be able to just see all the plants and then all the pots, but also to be able to kind of organize those on the homepage and feature them in different places. So we're going to go ahead and create our first collection. Now, with collections in Shopify, there's two ways to create them. You're going to see the first way is a manual collection. And what that means is that you're just going to go ahead and manually add products one by one into the collection. So if you don't have a ton of products, this might not be a bad idea. But if you're looking to automate the process of adding products into a collection automatically, even moving forward when you add new products and you don't want to have to take the time to add them into collections, we're going to opt for the automated collection. This isn't overly complicated, to be honest. It's just very, very logical. We're just telling Shopify what conditions have to be matched in order for the product to be added into the collection. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at the chat because it's lighting up here. Okay, you guys cannot hear me very well. Is this better? Yay, lovely. Sorry about that. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and add an automated collection. So what I'm going to do here is add products in based on the type of product that we've added a bit earlier. So you're going to remember we added indoor plants and we added pots. So for this collection, this is going to be the indoor plants collection. You don't need to add a description unless you really want to talk about the products in this collection. So I'm going to leave this blank. But then here is the important part. So products must match product type is equal to indoor plant. Okay, so theoretically, if everything's done correctly here, I should be able to save this and see all of my products with the type indoor plant automatically added into this collection. Cross our fingers that I didn't mess anything up. And we're going to scroll down here and we're going to see our 4 lovely indoor plants that have the product type indoor plant added automatically. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and preview this as well. And you can see we have our 4 plants here appearing nicely. So what we're going to do now is add our second collection for the pots. I'm actually going to do this one manually just to show you how it works. So first we're going to just save this, and after we save it, it's going to give us the option to add products in one by one. So here we go. I'm going to pick my coral pot, my floral pot, the hanging pot, and I should have my 4th woven pot here. So one question that I see here, would it not be reasonable to create the collections before I list my products? That's a very great question. You can do one or the other. It's really up to how you feel comfortable with doing it. If you wanted to create automatic collections and set your conditions beforehand, you definitely can. The thing is, if you're creating collections beforehand and you're setting conditions like the tags that need to be met or the types that need to be met, the problem is there that you haven't added those in yet. So if you go ahead and add a collection with some conditions and you save it, you won't actually be able to know if it's working until you add those products and then you go back into the collection and see that everything's working properly. Again, totally up to you. You can do one or the other. This is just my preferred method that I'm showing to you today. So I'll get back to you those questions after a little bit here. Great, so I have my pot collection here. So if I go back into my collections, you're going to see my indoor plants collection as well as my pots collection as well. There's not much sound. Oh dear. Let me just up the mic volume. Hopefully I'm not going to make anyone deaf. Great. Cool. So now we have our collections. And we have our products that are added in as well. So product info is there. What's next? We're going to add some content. So every website should have a little bit of content at the very least, about us page, a contact page even, things that are just kind of describing the brand, a little bit of an introduction. You can use pages to do whatever you want. You'd be able to write even blog articles if you wanted to about caring for plants, for example. There's so much that you can do. And so what we're going to do is go under the online store sales channel, which is where we're going to have all the contents of our website. So we're going to see a section called pages here, and that's where we're going to want to be adding some content. So what we're going to do is go ahead and add a page. And the first page that we want to add today is a simple About Us page, just introducing us as a brand and what we do. So you're going to see this is kind of the same structure as adding a product, right? We have the title and we have the description. We don't have the same taggings systems and stuff like that just because it's not a product, but the structure of each section in Shopify is more or less the same to just make it a little bit easier for people to understand. So again, we have our About Us page here, and I already have my content, but what you're going to see here is that I've gone ahead and added a photo, which you can just do with this little icon here. Nothing too crazy. Hey, we're the plant company. We're a small team of plant lovers. Here's our owner with her snake plant, blah, blah, blah. Very simple, just a nice way to introduce ourselves. Again, at the bottom, you're going to have the SEO option here. So it's going to populate automatically based on the title and description. But if you want to change it, you can definitely do that here at the bottom. Last but not least, we have a few other things. We have the visibility. So do we want this visible now, or do we want this hidden? And then set a specific publish date. So if I had some new content that I wanted to release, maybe I wanted to do that tomorrow at midnight, I'm able to just hide this page for now and then say, hey, I want this published tomorrow at midnight. For now, I want this to be visible, and I'm going to talk about the template a little bit later. That's not important for now. Cool. Going to save that. And again, it's good practice to just view the page just to make sure it's translating properly. Obviously, it doesn't look great right now. We don't have our theme yet, but I promise we're getting to that very soon. Cool. The second content page that I want to add is just a contact us page. Totally, it's not mandatory, but it is good practice to have it if you want people to be able to easily email you about a product and maybe increase your sales that way. So again, contact us, and I have a little bit of content for this just to spice up the page a little bit. I've added a picture just to make it a little bit more pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in here. And this is the same as the page before. I do want it visible as well, but I'm actually going to talk about the template here for a second. Every theme of that is included in Shopify or that you can get with Shopify will also have a contact template. And what that does is that it turns the page into a contact form as well, so people can add their email and their name and stuff like that and reach out to you. So I'm going to save it just to show you what I mean. Edith has a great question again, and I promise I'll get to all the questions. I just see hers first. Will the mobile version be created automatically, or do I have to do adaptions? Amazing question, and the answer is every single theme that works with Shopify is already mobile responsive. You will never, ever have to duplicate your work. Everything that you're doing on Shopify will be ready for desktop and mobile at the same time. And I'll show you how that works also in just a little bit in the theme editor. Cool, so contact us page is created. I'm going to go ahead and just view that, and you'll be able to see here that it did include that form. And any submissions from this form will just be sent to the email address on your Shopify account. So you can change that in the settings also, but it's a nice way to give your customers an option to reach out to you. Great. So now we have our content pages, we have our products, we have our collections, but how are we going to set that up on the website? You know, we have our navigation for customers to, reach our products and stuff like that. But right now we only have a couple of things here at the top, and that's not necessarily enough. So what we're going to do is go under Online Store and go under Navigation. And we're going to get started on our menus. So the main menu, pretty self-explanatory. It's just the one that we're going to see here at the top. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click into this, and we're going to add some stuff. Now, we have our home button, which is always good to have just to link back to the home page if the customer wants to. Catalog can just be, it's typically just a link to all of your products that aren't necessarily divided into those nice collections that we created, but I'm going to go ahead and just delete that because that's not what I want. What I do want, and I'm just going to use our finished product as a reference. So we have our About Us page, we have our 2 collections, we have our Contact Us, and we have an order status page. So, all right, first one, About Us. And you'll actually be able to pull from your existing products, collections, and pages and stuff like that that we have here. So here I'm going to go under pages, going to get our About Us page, and I'm going to add. Now I think it's our 2 collections, indoor plants and plant pots. So indoor plants. But now instead of going to pages, we're going to go to collections. And I have my indoor plants collection here. I'm going to do my plant pots. Collections again. Pots. And then what did I have? Oh yes, the Contact Us page. Back to pages for this, and then Contact Us. And then my last one was the order status link. So there's a few things we have to do first to be able to add that, and I'm going to get to that shortly. So I'm just going to save this as is for now. And I'm going to go back to my navigation so I can get started on this little menu here. So just quick links that your customer can access at the bottom. So we already have the search. And then we have the order status, which I can't add yet. And I believe it was contact, yes. So it's going to be the same link as the one from before. Go ahead and add that. So we have our navigation more or less set up here. Again, I'm going to come back to the order status link just because we have a few things to do before we can do that, but hang tight and we'll get there. So, great. Now we have most of our content ready. We just need to style it, right? This looks awful. There's no love to this. There's no pictures, no anything. And what we have to do is go into the theme. So again, I haven't done anything to this. This is a brand new account, and I'm going to show you how to do everything step by step, and you're going to find your website is going to start looking real good in very little time. So each Shopify store comes with just the debut theme, which is just kind of the basic one to start, getting started and adding your products and stuff like that. But obviously, we're not going to go with that. You have 2 options. You have some free themes, which are all built by Shopify, and then you can also access the Shopify theme store for themes that are a one-time fee that generally have a few more options than just the free themes. But for now, we're just going to go ahead with a free theme because there's so much that you can do with them. I actually went with the minimal theme for this one. I find it nice and clean. And you'll see when you pick one, you're able to go ahead and select different styles that come with the theme. But again, we can customize these 100%, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and add that theme. Grab a sip of water. Just going to give it a second for this to add, and then we're going to get going with the funner part of this webinar. Great. So what I'm going to do is click on Customize here, and that's where we're going to see our theme editor. So I'm going to explain a little bit first how the theme editor works. You're going to see on the left-hand side, in kind of order of appearance, different sections that do different things. So of course, starting out, we have the header. Then we have the slideshow, which is right here. We have a collection list, which would be to show different collections. So we could showcase the pots collection and the indoor plants collection. We have a second collection list here. We have our newsletter module here, or section rather. And then we have our footer. So one by one, our content is appearing. Okay, so we're going to get started with the header. I don't want this kind of title here. I want my actual logo. So all I've done is click into the header to see the different options available to me for the header section. Quickly looking at the chat. Are we adding our website pages to Shopify or importing the Shopify pages into the website? So they're actually both linked together, right? Everything that we've added thus far is just information that resides into Shopify that Shopify will add to your website directly. All we're doing right now is actually just arranging how all of that content that we've added in the back end is going to appear on the front end. So they're both interconnected together. So I'm going to go ahead and add my logo now. I have a logo ready, so I'm going to select that. Great. And I'm going to go ahead, it's tiny right now, but you can see you have the logo width here that you can fiddle with. So I'm going to go ahead and try 500 pixels, which is a bit big. I don't know if that's as big as the other one. I think this was a bit smaller. Yeah, so let's do maybe 400. That looks good. Now we have options like the main menu. So do we want to center that main menu? My answer is yes. We can also choose to put the logo on the left if we wanted to. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do here. And you'll see we also have the announcement bar, which is something that you can announce here. I don't want to do that, but you could do that for like a free shipping promotion, stuff like that. I'm just going to leave that off for now. So we've done our header part. What's next? The slideshow is next. I'm going to go ahead and go into this. You're going to have some options like how big do you want this, how often this slide changes, what the transition effect is like, stuff like that. But if we go down here, we're going to be able to add multiple different slides. So by default, it comes with 4 slides, but I just want the 1 slide for now. So I'm going to go ahead and remove a few slides here and just take this step by step. I know it may seem overwhelming right now because there's a lot of options, but if you just go through them step by step, you'll find they're very easy to understand. So now I have 1 slide left, so it's more going to be like a banner and not so much a slide. And again, I'm going to go ahead and select that image. Let's just go ahead and find that. So I have my nice little picture with some plants. I think this is too dark, and that's because there's an overlay that was added. I'm just going to crank that down to 0. There's also some text on this. If you wanted to make an announcement, you'll see you can align the text, you can give a heading, you can actually make a button out of this. I'm going to go ahead and just remove this and just keep it as a nice photo. I see there is some questions. Is this better as far as the volume? Great. So Jessica just asked a question, is it possible to integrate a Shopify store to an existing website? If so, how should we do? This is a bit of a different webinar today. This is really how to make the website and have the website with Shopify entirely. The short answer to your question is that yes, it is possible. Shopify does have tools that are a little bit more on the technical side that will allow you to add products from Shopify and content from Shopify into an external website and then be able to manage your orders and stuff like that in Shopify. That being said, Shopify, you know, is made to work with the add-ons, with the apps, with the themes. So generally speaking, it's a much simpler experience if you just build everything with Shopify and then use Shopify as your CMS as well. But again, the short answer is yes, it's possible. However, I'm not going to go through that today because it is very, very technical. So in the respective time here, we have 17 minutes. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible and then getting to the questions. So my slideshow slash banner is done here. I'm going to move on to the next question, or the next section, sorry. So here you see we have 2 collection lists, okay, which would show individual collections. I only have 2 collections, so I find this a little bit useless. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the collections list sections. And you're going to see they've been removed here. And what I want to do instead is feature products and not collections, right? So you see here we're featuring some nice plants and some nice pots. So I'm going to go ahead and add a section. So you see there's tons of stuff that you can add, whether it's some galleries, another slideshow, you can feature one product. There's so much that you can do here. What we're going to do is feature a collection and not a list of collection. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And now you're going to see, okay, which collection do you want to feature? I want to feature my indoor plants collection. And I want to show 4 products and not just 3. Okay, there we go. And I wanted to keep things clean, as you can see here. So I didn't actually include any text here at the top. So I'm going to just get rid of that. And that looks pretty good. I would like to maybe center the text below the photos, which I think looks really pretty. And then I also want to add a featured collection for my pots, like you can see here. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to choose the pots collection instead. And to switch things up a bit, I'm going to show 3 instead of 4. And I'm just going to remove this text here because I find it a bit unnecessary. Okay. Now, I don't really like the placement of these. I don't like that my newsletter is up here. So what do? You'll see you can actually just drag and drop these. Okay, so I have my slideshow first. Maybe I want to show my plants right after. I want to show my other featured collection after. And now I have my newsletter at the bottom, which looks really nice, but I find there's something missing, which I really kind of thought was a nice video. So I'm going to go ahead and add a section. And you're going to see here we have the option to add a video. Amazing. So I'm going to go and add that. And it's going to ask you for a URL for that actual video. So I found a nice plant one on YouTube, which is not mine. So make sure that you actually own the rights to that video first. But I'm going to go ahead and just paste that link, and you'll see very quickly that pops up here. Okay, so I would like my newsletter to be at the very end. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag that down. And now it looks like we have a homepage that's really coming along together. So I'm going to go ahead and modify the footer, which is the last section here. And if we go back to our finished website, we have some links, we have some social media icons, and we have some contact. So there's some news content here, which would pull from your blog if you had one. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. So that leaves us with the menu. And you'll see here that menu will pull from that footer menu that we had in our navigation, which you can modify at any time. We have the social icons. So you're actually able to go into your theme settings, which we're going to do in a second, and add some of your social media. And then you have your newsletter sign up here. That looks pretty good. We've done our header, we've done our content, and we've done our footer. So pretty much we have all of this nice and laid out. What we want to do now is just go through these theme settings really quickly. And the first thing I want to cover is just social media, which are those icons here at the bottom. So all you have to do is add the URLs to your accounts that you have. So I'm just going to put Shopify's ones for now. And you'll see as I'm adding these in, the icons are actually going to start appearing at the bottom. And Instagram. Great, so that's all done. What I'm going to do now is go fiddle with the colors a little bit. So pretty self-explanatory. Top bar background is this guy up here at the top. We have the body background, the footer background if you wanted to add some color down here, the buttons, all of that good stuff. I'm actually going to leave these as is. I find the colors go really, really nice together. However, I think I just changed the text and stuff up top here. So main menu, I'm going to just change this to a lighter gray. And everything else kind of looks nice, I believe. These are a bit stark, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a nice gray color for these as well, make it look a little bit less daunting. And I think this looks pretty good. Lastly, I want to change some fonts. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the typography. And I'm finding that you know, this is not quite stylish enough for me in the navigation. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. We have hundreds of fonts that are all web ready that you can use from. I'm a huge Helvetica fan, so I'm going to go ahead and find Helvetica in here. And I'm going to change it to maybe something a little bit lighter. And I think that looks pretty good. Select that. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Great. So you can see this is pretty much mimicking exactly what we have here. These have slightly different colors, but have some pink down here. But you know what? So far, I think this is a good start. So just to resume what we did at the beginning. We added our products, we added them into some collections, we added some page content, we set up our navigation, and now what we did is we took all of that information that we added and we just told Shopify, hey, here's how we want to lay it out on the website. So somebody asked a question about mobile earlier, so I want to just touch base on that. The theme editor has an option on the top here to switch to mobile view, so you can actually see exactly how your website would look on mobile. So again, all themes with Shopify are totally mobile responsive and will suit any mobile device very well. So I'm going to go ahead and save. What I'm going to do now is just go back to Shopify. And we're going to see that we had the debut theme, which is the theme that we started with, the one that we haven't worked on. This is the one that we've worked on here. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And now that is our active theme. So one thing that's cool to do a bit later, also if you want to further customize this, is just duplicate this and work on a version of the theme that is not published. So you can make changes without those going live and hindering the view that your customers are getting live. So just a kind of nice thing to note. And when you're done your customizations of that copy, you can go ahead and publish it also. So really quickly, what I want to do now is run you through the settings. So the settings are the technical kind of things that nobody ever wants to deal with, but are very, very important. The chat is lighting up again. Is there the possibility to change code? Yes, I'm going to show you that in 1 sec as well. So right, so our settings, pretty self-explanatory, but the ones that I want to touch base on today are your payment providers, your shipping, and your taxes, because those are what you need to operate. So the payment providers are going to be the options that your customers are going to have access to on your checkout to pay with their credit card or with PayPal, whatever that may be. I'm not going to dig too deep into this. If you are in a region that supports Shopify payments, you'll be able to just use Shopify's payment gateway. You'll be able to use PayPal, for example, Amazon Pay, Google Pay. There's tons of options available. And there's also third-party providers, which are going to be pretty much any payment gateway that's available around the world. If you have an account with them, you'll be able to activate them here. And this is going to be the main payment method with which your customers will be able to pay. So just for the sake of this webinar today, what I'm going to do is just activate a manual payment method so that I can show you how the checkout works. So I'm just going to say cash on delivery for now, which is not going to require any credit card information from me for an order today. Quickly going to the shipping settings. You're going to see these rates populate automatically based on the address that you've entered in for your store, but we can go into manage rates here. And you're going to see you can either create shipping profiles for specific groups of products or all of your products. And you can change where you're shipping to. So right now I have Germany because that's where I am. I have the rest of Europe, and you can customize the countries within this region. And then we have the rest of world. So I could say, hey, I don't want to ship outside Germany and the EU. I want to delete this. And then you can add some rates for each region individually. So you just give it a name, you give it a price, and you can say, hey, this is based on the weight, so the weights we've added to our products earlier, or it's based on the overall order price. So any order from 0 to 50 euros will be standard shipping. My goodness. And it's going to be 10 euros. So these are pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go too deep into these, but it's just to let you know that you're able to create different shipping zones, have different shipping rates for those shipping zones, either based on overall order weight or overall order price. So that is your shipping rates. And then lastly, I want to go back into the settings and just quickly touch base on taxes. So I'm assuming most of you guys here today are in Europe. So you'll be able to actually go ahead and set up tax rates for each different country that you are shipping to in the shipping settings, and set up things like VAT or tax exemptions, or set up your shipping rates outside of the EU as well. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to touch base on this much longer, but just to show you that it is possible to customize your tax settings if you want to. So last but not least, I want to go back into the settings, and I want to show you something on the checkout page, which is really important. So what I wanted to show you guys earlier are the customer accounts. So by default, customer accounts are disabled, but you can make them optional or you can make them required. And what happens with this is that it gives the customers the option to check out using their customer account and be able to log in later and see the status of their order. So you'll see here, this is the finished version. You'll see this link at the top, but we didn't have that before. And now if we look at it, now that we've enabled this, we're going to see that the option is here also. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and click on login. And this is the same page that I would want to link to for this order status link here. And because it's not an actual page, we don't have the option to select this page in the navigation. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy the URL here at the top. And I'm going to go back into my navigation like I promised I would. And I'm going to go ahead and add the order status link in both my main menu and paste that nice URL. And then I'm going to go ahead and add it into my footer navigation also. Great. So now if we look at the website, we're going to have all our links ready. It looks exactly how we want to. We've made it look nice, vibrant, professional. Our website is essentially finished. And now with time, all we need to do is add more products like I've shown you how, maybe add more collections if you need to, and more content if you want to as well. So I know we're running low on time. I did want to kind of go through a test order, but what I'm going to do first is go through just the questions here just to make sure that I'm covering everyone's questions. I think a question that has come up a little bit here, just because I've seen, you know, WooCommerce, WordPress, BigCommerce, all that good stuff. So I'm going to just explain the differences very quickly here. I'm going to start with WordPress first. WordPress is just a regular CMS. It was not built with commerce in mind. You can have WooCommerce added into it, but that's just kind of an add-on. It's kind of an afterthought. Shopify from the beginning was built as a commerce tool, and we started with the online store tool so that you can have your web shop, but we also allow you to plug in to almost any sales channel that you can think of, whether that is Facebook, whether that is Amazon, whether that is eBay, Instagram, you know, like every place that you can think of selling on, we allow you to do that. And that's not something that you can do easily with other platforms, whether that be BigCommerce or WooCommerce. And there's no cost to doing that on Shopify. We truly believe that, you know, we should allow our merchants to be able to sell wherever they want and not really dictate that for them. And so again, Shopify was a commerce tool from the very beginning, and the other ones were kind of just, CMS tools with a commerce add-on. And Shopify also is fully hosted. You don't have to deal with any of the technical stuff of hosting your checkout, of hosting your website. We do everything for you. It is an all-in-one place, from the smaller merchants to the biggest brands in the world, because the platform is so easy to use and so flexible for larger merchants as well. Longtime user of WordPress and WooCommerce, what would be the 1 to 2 main reasons to Shopify? So again, WordPress and WooCommerce. WooCommerce was an add-on to WordPress. WordPress was never a commerce tool to begin with. It was just kind of an afterthought. And I think if you take advantage of trying out Shopify for a few days or a few weeks even, I think you'll notice that everything that Shopify has built functionality-wise is really to make commerce better and easier for our merchants. And there's so much that you can do with Shopify in comparison to WordPress and Woo. Cool. Beyond that, Shopify is just ease of use. I think you can kind of tell from the user experience and how it works that it's just a very simple platform. We've designed it so that anybody can use it, whether it's my grandma that wants to sell her knits online, or whether it's somebody that's extremely tech savvy. So we're kind of trying to go after all types of merchants that way. And we have like top-notch support 24/7 in multiple different languages. So we're always here to help you out. One thing that I want to talk about also, because I think it came up a few times in the chat here, is can we connect to different things? So there is the Shopify App Store that is available, which is just modules that you can add to Shopify to add different functionality and stuff like that. And all of these modules will plug into Shopify via the API. That being said, that API can be used to connect to anything. Right? If you're using an inventory management system that's a third party and you wanted to connect it to Shopify, you can just use the API to connect to it, right? We're letting you connect to whatever you need to get whatever information back and forth that you need to. We're not here to, again, dictate what you should and should not be able to connect to. Shopify is very flexible in that sense. That can be an ERP as well, depending on how big the business is. Really, any technology that you can think of that you would be using, you can connect to via the API with Shopify. Invoicing, great question. Shopify sends automatic email notifications to all customers that place an order. So that means they're going to get, the receipt, the invoice that includes all the information about what they bought, the tax rate, everything. And you can, Shopify has the option for you as a merchant to print out an invoice as well from the orders page. So all that good stuff. Just looking through the questions, tons of stuff happen. Is Shopify SEO friendly? Yes. So we've built Shopify to be quote unquote like idiot proof, if you will. So anytime you add a product or any type of content pages, we will populate the SEO automatically so that you never ever get dinged on not having SEO in the background. You can go into the theme and change the tags and stuff like that in the code also, but generally speaking, we populate all of the SEO for you so that that's covered. Are there versions available in case I want to go back to an older version? So yes, when I talked about the theme, I showed you that you can duplicate the theme, modify it, publish it. You can have multiple different versions of that theme that you can revert back to. Oh, lots of questions. Multilingual, great question. Also, there is an app, there's a few apps on the App Store that will enable you to have your website in multiple different languages. In France, we're lucky we have a partner in Paris called Weglot, and they have an amazing application that will let you have multiple different languages and versions of your website, and then allow for your customer to be able to change those languages. Is this better Shopify or WooCommerce? I mean, I'm biased, so of course I'm going to say Shopify. But again, I have to reiterate the point that WooCommerce was an afterthought from WordPress. It was never something that was built with a merchant 100% in mind, unfortunately. When you've used WordPress and Woo and you've tried out Shopify for a few weeks, I think you will understand that everything that Shopify has built was really 100% catered for merchants. Okay, I think we've kind of gone through most of the questions here. Most of these was just me not speaking loud enough. Okay, just kind of looking through this. I'm just going to wrap this up here. Most of these I've answered throughout the webinar. So, RGPD managed by Shopify. So that's a great question. I'm just going to open up GDPR. The short answer is yes. We have, almost 300,000 merchants in Europe that are using Shopify. So we've really assured that everything is compliant with GDPR or RGPD standards. If you want to know more about this, you can go on our help docs and kind of look at the actual technical lingo behind it that I'm not super familiar with, but the short answer is yes. Spelling the plugin for multilingual, W-E-G-L-O-T. Just going to show you here on the screen. I can't see anything. Oh my goodness. There we go. So this is the one that I recommend. They are a French developer, so of course I'm going to have to rep France a bit here, but I would definitely recommend reaching out to these guys for your multilingual needs, and it's plug and play with Shopify, so it works really well for that. Last question I'm going to take here. Can you have categories and subcategories into each collection? The answer is yes. You just need to make multiple different collections with an added layer of conditions, and then you're able to create drop-down menus in your navigation for those as well. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here today. I didn't have time to go through the test orders, unfortunately, but what I can show you here very quickly just before heading out, if you can hear my boyfriend, he's just taking some calls, so don't mind him. So just to kind of show you the checkout here, just added a product to my cart and gonna go ahead and check out. And we'll be linked to my checkout here where we can, add our contact information, our shipping address and stuff like that, and proceed with my order. So on that note, I'm pretty much finished today. We are 7 minutes over, but in general, I think we've accomplished setting up a pretty great store within 1 hour that is, again, fully functional. And I hope you guys take advantage of the Shopify 90-day free trial that we have going on right now during the COVID crisis. It's really just to encourage merchants to maybe try out a new business and make additional income during the crisis, and be able to do that without having to pay us for 3 months, which I think is pretty great. So do take advantage of that, see what you can accomplish. If you need to email me with questions, I'm going to have a different webinar today for more technical questions, which is what I do. But otherwise, the support team is amazing. I worked for them for 2 years, almost 3 years, and they're available 24/7. They speak French, they speak English, they speak Spanish and German, I think, at this point. So go ahead and reach out to them whenever. And that's it for me.
Yeah, so thank you, Marie-Claude. It was very interesting. Just you to know, we will soon create a YouTube channel where you can find this Malt Academy and all of our previous Malt Academy. And if some of you want to also become speaker like Marie-Claude, you just have to go on maltacademy.com and just file a form. And we'll also send you a little email with a feedback form that you can fill, so we can improve our next Malt Academy. So I think it's all for us. Thank you all. And
thanks, everyone.
Maybe see you this afternoon for some of you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Hope to see you soon. Bye.